Guys, John from Take the Lead here. Today, we're going to be taking on ice fishing, trying to pull my first fish through the ice since I was a kid, and hopefully you guys will be able to pick up some useful tips and tricks along the way. But we just got to the lake, so I'm going to go ahead and get the sled loaded up. I will see you guys in just a second. As you can see behind me, we've got all the gear loaded up on the sled. Now I know some of you might be thinking, that's not the right sled, but you know what? It works. And sometimes getting out on the ice is more important than having all the right equipment. So first lesson of the day, you don't always need the right equipment as long as it gets the job done. So let's go ahead and get out there and put some fish on the ice. As you can see behind me, we pretty much have the lake to ourselves. It's important to get to the lake early when you're going to be out scouting a new place to start fishing. And I think I've got a good place right here. We're probably about 100, 150 yards away from the bank at its closest point. And we're going to go ahead and drop down, see how deep it is, and see if we're going to set up here for the day. All right, and there you have it. Let's get fishing. I don't know why, but every time I scoop this ice out, I just want to grab a handful of it and eat it. It just looks so good, like it would be so crunchy and delicious. When it comes to getting out on the ice this season, there's really only three things that you need. Number one is a way to put a hole in the ice. Number two is a way to suspend your hook in the water. And number three is a way to stay warm while you're out there. Everything else is just a luxury when you're out on the ice. All right, we fished here about half an hour, didn't turn anything up, and I'm not seeing anything on the fish finder, so we are gonna go ahead and get our stuff back on the sled and move a bit further and see if we can turn up anything in the next spot. All right, good to go. We made it to the second spot, got a hole drilled, and now we're fishing again. When it comes to cutting holes, I prefer a powered ice auger because where I fish, the ice can get well over 24 inches at times, and drilling multiple holes with a manual auger takes up way too much of my fishing time. If you want to check out the review that I have on the auger that I use, I'll have that linked right here. If you don't plan to get a designated ice fishing setup, you can always swap any of your summer reels to a short rod and you shouldn't have any issues. If you're interested in building your own rod, or just need something to throw together quickly, I'll put a link to my video on that here. For tackle, I strongly recommend ice jigs as they'll sink a lot faster than a standard hook and save you a significant amount of time when depth testing. When it comes to bait, ice fishing is definitely a use live and thrive situation, so night crawlers, wax worms, maggots, anything like that, the fish will go crazy for. Finally got our first fish of the day. It's a little itty bitty perch, but this might make some good tip up bait. Maybe we'll see. The technique is pretty simple, in theory, but it takes some trial and error to get a feel for it. Start by dropping your hook to the bottom and slowly start jigging it back up until you get to the ice layer. If you fished one hole for 20 minutes or so without any luck, it's time to move. When it's time to set the hook, less is more. A little flick at the end of your pole is all you need to send that hook home. Since fish feed differently in the winter, it can be harder to feel when they actually take the bait, so I find it best to give micro sets every single time you feel a hit. It doesn't always feel like it, but it is colder up on top of the ice than it is in the water. So if you're not planning to keep the fish, make sure that you get him back down the hole as quickly as possible to minimize any shock to its system. The wind on day 3 brought in another cold snap, so we decided to break out the radar blind from Barnett and give it a go. For not being an ice structure, it held up really well, and it wasn't too long before we were on the fish. Day 3, back on the lake. As you can see, it's snowing quite a bit outside. It's coming down in droves, but we are finally onto the fish. This guy's a little floppy, but there you go. First little sunfish in the blind. Let's go ahead and get him back in the hole here. Be free. Awesome, let's go. A little teeny tiny guy. All right, buddy. Back down the hole. Oh, he needs some assistance. Oh, there he goes. He didn't need some assistance. We are finally on the fish. Only took us 17 hours of fishing. So just so you guys know, this isn't easy. Well, it's been easy today, but it takes perseverance and a gorgeous fiance. Look at that guy. Oh, got a little hook in the finger. All right, we're all right. Look at that guy. How pretty are those colors? I don't know if you can see them. Let's send him back down the hole. Oh, he didn't quite make it. He might need a bit of assistance. Okay, we're good. Heck yeah. Let's go. He's a little fishy, so in continued use of the Barnett Radar Blind, I don't know if I would personally recommend it for blizzard conditions, but it's doing all right. So I would give it a 2.5 sunfish out of however many sunfish you think are a lot of sunfish. So let's get some more. Oh, speaking of sunfish, Jenna, it's 3-3 now.
Ooh.
Well, 2-2 sunfish. You caught a bass.
Yeah.
So this is debatable. I can't tell if my pole is jiggling or if I'm just shivering. I think it's a little both.
Do you want to put some of the gloves on for a little bit? And...
No, I'm good. No. You're doing such a great job filming. I feel like now I need to do a great job catching a fish.
Right?
And I'm getting nibbles. Like, I'm still getting those bites. Got one. Let's go. Hey! Little greenie. He's a feisty little greenie. He's just squirming a lot, so that's a nice little green sunfish. My thumb's probably in the way there. Nice little greenie. Let's go ahead and get him back in the water. Nice. That one spooked me a little bit. I wasn't ready for him. Also, this is the 3rd or 4th fish on this one worm. Get you guys a good view of him before I unhook him here. Nice. Another little tiny fish. Let's get him back in the hole. It's so funny watching them swim around trying to get down for the bottom. Alright. This towel is coming in real handy. It's in like the perfect spot. Just wipe your hands off. My hands smell very fishy. Alright, we just pulled a little perch through the ice. Definitely bigger than the one we pulled yesterday. Oh. Hey, there we go. Look at that. Picked up a crappie. Let's go ahead and get this hook out of him and get him back down the hole. First fish through the ice that we've been able to lip, guys. Look at that. And he's a little chilly, so we'll go ahead and get him down the ice. All right, well, I'm about to call it for the day, and this may be my last day of ice fishing for the season, but I hope that you now know enough to get out on the hard water and do some ice fishing for yourself. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and as always, make sure you like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.